Hello, welcome to Going 19, episode 41. Today we start book 2 of The Dark Tower called Drawing of the Three, covering part 1 and the Shuffle. I am Ed, with me are Allie and Amber. Let's start the show.
I think we were talking
We
about
were just
lobstrosities.
talking about Roland getting his fingers cut off at the beginning.
Yeah. So I would have to say it this way. I think the first time I read it, it didn't piss me off as much, if I can even remember back that far, because I didn't understand the scope of what was coming, and I don't think Roland did when it happened, or Stephen King did either.
I honestly feel the opposite. Like the first time I read it, I was like, "What the hell?" Like I'm finally getting into the story a little bit, and like I'm excited, and then like the main character loses like his weapon. Basically, it's like, what? I'm supposed
It's
to care
fun.
about this.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like, okay, something's either gonna happen where he's somehow gonna be able to grow his fingers back, or they're doomed. Also, though, I think it's kind of, and I doubt Stephen King meant to do this, but who knows? How the book is the drawing of the three, and now he only has three fingers on his main drawing hand.
Oh, I never even thought of that. 3 is his number. Wait, he lost. Oh, yeah.
Because he lost 2 fingers and a toe.
Yeah, like I don't know, but when I went through the second time and like this time, like I know that he's now not gonna have that right fucking hand for the next like 7 books.
Right, but like that's why I'm not upset because we know what happens. So
It's still annoying. And I don't.
honestly,
Go ahead.
sorry, I was just gonna say, like, I know I read the story, but that's why I love rereading Stephen King, especially, is because there's still so many details that I forget. So, like, when Roland is practically dead to get to the door, which apparently can move afterward, which I'm like, oh, so he just had to almost die to get there first.
Yeah, when did the door start moving? I don't remember that being a thing.
I didn't remember that either, but I was just gonna say, that whole journey of him trying to get there, I'm like, I know he survives, but like, does he? Like, what happened?
Yeah,
Trying to get to the door.
Yeah, like with the infection and after the lobstrosities and starvation.
I have to say, no matter how safe I thought I was, there's no way in fucking hell I'm going to sleep with them things in my eyesight.
Oh yeah,
no.
especially when Eddie says that they start moving. I'm like, moving where? Away from the water? I don't get it.
Moving towards you, yeah, bye.
Yeah, I love how he describes it perfectly. Like they ask those pleading questions, like they need help.
Yes.
It's got to be so disarming, and at least at first, and by the time you get your wits about you, it's too late, and you lost 2 fingers and a toe.
Yeah, his first interaction with it, like that scene is so like I know it's gonna happen, and I'm just like, like it's
I
scary.
know, and I like he
For
says it.
someone who didn't, I was like, oh God.
Yeah, you're like, wait, is it? That's one of those ones where I would have went back and reread it. Like, wait, is this? When does he get his fingers back? Like, how long is this gonna last?
Yeah, I did. I reread it like 2 or 3 times. I was like, no, what? No.
Yeah, so he's dreaming, right? That proves it. I can't. I don't have the page open, but I'm in the prologue still. Oops, that's Stephen King just talking. I mean, the introduction. He said something like he had never been so fundamentally hurt in like all his long years, and it all happened so damn fast, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably good. But think of like at this point, you know, I don't know, what is he supposed to be, like mid-40s, I guess, something like that. Like all the battles, and he's really like 1,000 years old, I think.
Right.
At least I think he's been crossing the desert for about 500 years.
Sure feels like it, at least.
So I don't know how old he really is, but I think he's supposed to be, you know, like mid-40s. So anyway, all the stuff that he's been through, all the battles, you know, his whole world fell apart. So I imagine there was more than a little bit of fighting going on when that happened. And then he just like woke up on the beach and lost his hand. God damn it!
It
Why
almost feels
was
like,
that a good idea? It doesn't make sense.
is that a trap or is it just how life goes?
He was probably smoking a joint or something, and he was like, you know, what would be really fucked up,
To not give this guy a chance.
right? When was this?
That's what it
87.
is.
I'm pretty sure he was still drinking back then. Like, where did he pull that from? Did a chick? That a chum? I like how I like they're asking questions. It's funny. And then they get into, I forget how he words it. They get in the honor stance where they're like
Yeah,
put up your dukes like they're getting ready to fight somebody. I can picture that. It's an
it's
absurd
so
picture, but it
funny.
makes me laugh, and I can picture it.
Well, it makes me think of like the crabs from like Mario Kart and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So they, what is it? So it wasn't. It's the sound of the waves that stops them. Is that what it is? I thought
Sure.
maybe he thought it was the sound, and it turned out to be something else.
Well, it was definitely, he thought it was the tide that was calling them, but I think it was actually the light. I don't remember, but
Oh,
it definitely
I thought it was
was.
the sound of the waves.
Well, it
Or
was definitely the
something.
sound of the waves that made them put their hands up. I just meant that started calling them out in the first place. I think they come out overnight.
Oh, yeah. Because they walk just fine during the day without interacting with them, and it's at night where they come out and like Eddie kills one and they eat it.
Yeah, I don't
Was it
understand
not?
why Roland was so grossed out by that. I'm like, what do you care? Like, how do you know it's poison? I don't
I
understand.
figured it out about 10 pages before he like admitted it. Like, what did you think was going on? It was like
Yeah,
a
where do you
buffet
think
table
he's getting
following
that?
them.
Well, it was
Yeah,
either going to be that or like one of the seagulls. And I'm sure gulls don't taste that good.
I believe they're greasy the way I understand it. But I imagine they're much harder to catch as well. And how was he killing those lobstrosities? Like, was
With
he?
the gun.
With the gun, yeah.
Oh yeah, oh
He
yeah.
said that.
I was thinking of the one he bashed on the neck or on the spine with a rock. Like, that's a little too close. Those things move fast.
I do like the realization, thinking of the gun. They're like, this gun has only been in the hands of the most righteous and the most trained men in history, and it's like now it's going to Eddie.
It's like the Simpsons. She's like, and Bart? Well, we love Bart. Can't really say much about.
Roland was like, yeah, I don't want you to touch it either, but here we are.
Because of the goddamn lobstrosities. David's dim, but the creature was crouched on the gunslinger's boot, just like tearing away at it. I can,
Yeah.
you know, I was gonna say we
Picturing-
need to eat some lobster, but I don't know, maybe not.
I don't eat seafood anyway.
Oh well, that's right. By the way, I discovered vacuum seal bags are awesome when you pack. You can fit so much more stuff. I just vacuum sealed all my clothes and they like shrank in half. I was like, ooh, now I have more. Oh, there it is. In all his long, strange time, it was dead, but he meant to have his way with it all the same. He had never, in all his long, strange time, been so fundamentally hurt, and it all had been so unexpected. Oh, that's what it was. So unexpected. I mean, do you ever expect to get hurt? Well, I guess maybe sometimes.
Well, he's usually so aware of everything. So it is strange that, like, it feels a little bit like Deus Ex Machina that this would even happen. Because it's like, has he never come across creatures he hasn't seen before? Like, I don't know.
Well, yeah. Well, has he ever been? So he's at the Western Sea, right? So I'm not even getting on a cruise ship on that sea. I gotta tell you, with those things like
Right.
floating around in there, it makes sharks look tame.
Make piranha. No, maybe not. I was gonna say piranhas,
So
but
he may not have ever been to. What does he
I
say? Did they say
he
he's at
said
the
he's
Western
never
Sea,
been
or
to
am
the
I?
sea. Yeah, no, he said that because like when he first saw it, he was amazed by it. I just feel like I don't know. It is also very believable though because it's like it looks like a cute little lobster, and he's like he was cautious. He just didn't realize how fast it was.
Or how sharp its claws were,
Yeah.
or how violent it would be.
How fast it is. It's faster than a gunslinger.
It's creepy. Yeah. Like just picturing that like a lobster thing. It said 4 feet long too, like 1 foot off the ground and 4 feet long.
They're big. They're not little. That's big enough to be super terrifying.
And then it's just walking along, and all of a sudden it like darts at you like the Flash and rips half your foot off.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
with
thank you.
like both claws tearing away at the boot at the leather. Allie, you have something?
Huh?
Were you about to say?
Oh no, just agreeing. Like
She said no, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Don't want to be anywhere near those things. They sound awful and terrifying.
yeah, and so they're going to sleep, and those things are. It's like they have drew some magic line and said we'll probably be fine here, right?
That's
Because
what.
they
Yeah.
assume that they don't go so far from the water for some reason. I guess
Until
because they
Eddie's like,
haven't.
"Oh, they are though." Yeah.
That's when he's like, "Wait, no, it's not the waves, it's the light or something." And it was kind of confusing.
Yeah.
So and it's to me it's funny. So nothing really changed. We're still in Roland's world. We're still in this desert place. We reached the end of it, but we're still like there. But I liked it so much more than the entire first book.
It's just the way it's written is different.
And I couldn't tell you what it is that makes it better. It just is.
Well,
I'm not real sure. I mean, obviously you can tell he got better in the interim, I guess is the way to say it. But I can't even tell you what makes it, what it is that I like better. I just do. Like I
The
was enjoying
Gunslinger.
it this
Oh,
time.
sorry, Allie.
Good.
Well, it is hard to pinpoint, but I think it feels more linear,
Yes.
which definitely helps. And I think it's also just him finding his style, maybe like finding his voice as a writer.
More linear,
think-
like as in you know where it's
Chronological.
going.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah.
what we were saying kind of about the Gunslinger is that it's really more of like a book of exposition, like introduction of random characters and events. Not there is a story, but it's very more abstract. And then you get right into the actual storyline in the Drawing of the Three.
Yeah, this is what his long talk with the gunslinger, the man in black was telling him was about to start happening. So here we
the
go.
three people.
You got, of course, he left out the part about the lobsters were going to eat them.
Right. That's why I was like, was that another trap or what?
I think I can see the man in black tittering. He likes to titter. So, I think there was a Stephen Kingism in one of these too.
Oh, he said the word obdurate. I was like, oh, that must have been his first time.
Oh, obdurate. I haven't seen obdurate in a while. The obdurate past.
Word of choice for 11/22/63.
It was how he said time is fighting against you. Fuck with it. Because it's obdurate.
Correct itself. Yeah, it doesn't want to change. And it was like obdurate this and obdurate this and obdurate that. And I was like, I get it.
Right? The obdurate past and life turns on a dime, I think it was. So he, I guess, crawls his way literally to the door.
How did he even like is the body in like a sort of stasis when the mind is in another world? Like how did that body even survive still? Like it should have just been dead.
Yeah, I had Well, the only other thing I could think of that would maybe make sense would be like maybe time moves differently in the two other places.
Well, that's true. But
Like
then
Other places.
maybe, or maybe like
between the two.
well, that wouldn't make sense because I was going to say maybe like a second in our world would be an hour in theirs, but that would make it worse. I would think.
That's
Well, no,
that's
because like
go ahead.
Eddie, when they go, when Eddie and Jack go back into it, it doesn't seem like they're gone. They're gone for longer than Balazar would like, but it doesn't seem like they're gone for an abnormally long time, like more than our time in Earth.
Yeah.
In the bathroom?
Yeah. When they go into Roland's world.
I right away like that.
Oh yeah, I did remember that. I was like, as soon as I get in here, I remember him being torn apart.
But see, I
don't understand how, like, I don't know if Stephen King planned this too, but it's like, it's funny how kind of, well, I can imagine that's realistic, but how quickly it went from, we're gonna try to resolve this and keep this guy alive and do this to like, no, we're gonna shoot everybody and everybody's gonna die. Okay.
Who, Roland?
Yeah, I mean, Roland and kind of Eddie, like, I don't know, I guess they had no idea what was gonna happen, but it just all went sour so quickly. And then Eddie OD or Henry ODing at the same time, like it's like, what a mess.
I didn't remember Henry's fate. I forgot that he was even alive when the book started.
I
He's just
remembered
one of those people that existed at his head and nowhere else, you know.
Yeah, no, I read it not that long ago, so I did remember that he was part of the deal, but I thought he was killed. I didn't remember he OD'd.
Well,
Last rocket.
sort of OD'd.
Well, that's true, but he, I don't know. He might have anyway.
That, I mean, that's fair.
He didn't seem, and I think somebody told him it was called like getting a fix, because that's what he said like every time. It was getting annoying.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know.
I
Like,
need a fix.
yeah, I don't claim to know a lot of heroin addicts, but I knew one or two, and they didn't ever say that. I wonder who his research subject was. 3. This is the number of your fate. 3 fingers. All right, so
one of the things that I noticed or wrote down was like especially after we learn Eddie's name and Roland does it again where he keeps calling him like the prisoner, kind of like the boy. And I'm like, why does he keep referring to him? Not even out loud, but I just meant in his head. And then he says it at the end. I'm like, oh, well, he says one thing that kind of explains it to me, where he's like, I'll stop calling you a prisoner when you stop living in the cell you're in, or something like that. I was like, ooh, that's profound.
yeah,
Seems
right.
more profound than Roland could get.
Philosopher Roland over there. And Eddie, in case you don't know, is the world's most well-read junkie that ever lived. He knows a little bit. There was a couple in here already. I find them. He was comparing them to like some obscure guy I barely ever heard of. Eddie, you'll notice, does a lot of reading, or has done a lot of reading. I'm not, obviously, he doesn't do a lot now. So he enters the story. Eddie, I like Eddie, my namesake.
Yeah. I love Eddie, and I still don't like Roland, but seeing the two of them start bonding too is just like, it makes my heart feel warm.
He already said "fuck your tower." I think I was like, "Oh,
Yep, I know. I was like, wow, this early?
Right, already we've been doing this." Yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to jump ahead. So the Eddie that I know so far is well, I guess he's the junkie with the steel in him. I guess that describes him pretty good. He's likable. And I think part of it's his like sarcasm, and part of it's because there's a couple times where I was like, he's fucked, and he like wormed his way out of it. And I guess that's what he means by the steel. Like, he didn't just roll over. Like, when the the guy, I don't even know if I knew his name, came to the hotel room and he like stuck a gun to his head and was like, why don't you just give me that
Yeah.
shit? He's like, no, that's not gonna happen. And let me tell you why. Let me count the reasons. So then you end up rooting for him. I was like, he better get his fix after all that.
Isn't it crazy that like even though we know that like Henry or Eddie is way better off without Henry, like and you're all in the moment and like, oh yeah, it's Roland and Eddie and they're a pair and they're gonna get out of there and they're gonna do this, and then like Eddie just like collapses obviously when he finds out his brother's dead, and I was like, why do you care? Come on, just move on already, like get over it.
You were just fighting naked. What do you deal with that later?
Like I got so wrapped up in it, and like for him to be, it's like makes sense for him to be freaking out, and I'm like, come on, you're supposed to be helping Roland, not hitting him.
I get that.
Not that, but that's the thing. Like I'm not rooting for Roland either, but I just get like so wrapped up in the two of them as a team, I forgot that it was his brother that he's mourning in that moment.
Yeah, well, because Henry is not really a character. Henry is a reason for what Eddie is doing what he is doing.
Henry's a voice in his head.
Yeah, it's almost like he doesn't matter. So we're like, wait a minute, why? Oh, right. He's supposed to matter. But
right.
Who's going to be the first one to say it about Henry?
What, that he's better off dead?
He is the great sage and eminent junkie.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say.
Oh.
You will hear that more than once. I think you already I think it's already in there about 7 or 8 times.
I think he even says the first time he calls him, he's like, this is the first time I'll call him that, or something like that.
Well, if you notice, yeah, in the first, I guess this section, he doesn't say it exactly that way every time. Sometimes he mixes it up. It'll be like great junkie and super sage or something.
Like, wait, did you say Henry or Eddie?
It's what Eddie calls Henry when he's thinking about him.
Oh, got it.
Henry Dean, the great sage and eminent junkie.
How can you be an eminent junkie? Isn't that an oxymoron?
Can you be a bad sage? Well, yeah, I guess that's pretty easy to do. Well, what does that mean, eminent junkie? I never bothered to think about it that much. That means he's good at it?
Famous and respected within a particular sphere or profession.
Right, that means he's good at being a junkie, right?
Used to emphasize the presence of a positive quality.
I think Henry is good at being a junkie, and it usually comes up when Eddie's remembering something that somehow relates to what he's doing.
Yeah.
And so he's got a story to tell about Henry being fucked up on heroin that somehow relates to it, so that makes him an eminent junkie. Like that? I made that up as I went. But yeah, I mean, Henry usually comes up when Eddie has never mind. When Eddie is thinking about him, which has happened already. I guess Henry, I mean, he was barely in this story, but Eddie's heavily influenced by him.
Well, he's only been a junkie for the last few years, so there's definitely, he wasn't a healthy relationship, but there was definitely probably more of a relationship before that point.
You know, I was reading that. How did Eddie get started?
It just said that Henry, one day he started, yeah.
Yeah, so there wasn't any like, you know, where was the point where he was like, I'm gonna and I didn't realize Henry was 8 years older than him. I thought they were closer.
Yeah,
I did too.
Which maybe that's why he did it, because he was trying to impress his big bro. Because if Henry was just back from Vietnam, what did they say? He was like 24, maybe? Or am I making that up?
I don't know.
Well, let's say he was 24, back from Vietnam after a year or two. So then that makes Eddie like 16 at the time.
Jesus. Yeah.
I mean, he's supposed to be in his early 20s now. So
So he's
yeah,
doing
he
it
would
for
have had to
years.
be basically a kid when he started, which is sad.
Mhm.
Where are their parents? Have we heard anything about them?
He said their
Dad,
parents are dead.
Yeah, I thought
I
I
think
read
Dad
that.
wasn't ever really in the picture, and Mom died.
Mom had issues too, right? Or no, I don't
I
remember.
don't think she did with drugs.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it was men or something. I don't know.
Maybe with drinking.
Maybe I don't remember.
It's sad because I just read that part, and I don't remember.
Yeah, I thought there was something that was off about Mom that I don't remember. I might just be making that up. Roland, by the way, really struggles with the English language sometimes on some of the silliest words. Why can't, like, I think two guys to the Dark Tower came and said something about that. Like he really can't say. It's funny how he can't say aspirin. Like he doesn't even get close. He calls it Aston. I'm like, yeah, I feel like you didn't even try.
He
Like
said
if it was
like
Aspen or something.
some of the letters are different, which is like okay. So maybe that's how he reads it.
Oh, I never thought of that. So the
But
P is a T in his language or something like that.
yeah. It feels like a weird distinction though. Like what like,
So it's
because it
very
doesn't
well.
Yeah.
add much to the story.
Yeah, like
I
cutting off
did
both your
like
fingers.
though how when Eddie was like dragging Roland along the beach, and Roland kind of wakes up, he's like, wait, how do you know that song?
Hey Jude, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. That definitely feels like an Easter egg to be like, hey, you guys are sort of from the same world, or at
He was
least have some of
probably
the same
listening to the Beatles when he wrote it.
things.
He liked to. Well, I guess it wasn't classic rock then, but it is now. Likes to listen to that when he writes. Um, am now, he says, very well. I am now a man with no food, with 2 less fingers and 1 less toe than I was born with. I'm a gunslinger with shells which may not fire. Excuse me. I am sickening from a monster's bite and have no medicine. I have a day's water from Lucky. I may be able to walk perhaps a dozen miles if I press myself to the last extremity. I am, in short, a man on the edge of everything. I like that. And then he finds the door.
Right.
How did he know to go north? So if you go north on the western side, and why does he keep talking about? Maybe I shouldn't ask that question. He
well,
keeps
he
talking about
just
how the man in black is dead, and I feel like he's way too confident about that. What? Because there was some bones there.
because he believes it's the Man in Black. Doesn't
Why?
mean it actually is.
Why? Why? Yeah, I'm not buying it.
I mean, I don't know that his goal is not to kill the man in black. I mean, I think he wouldn't be upset about that, but it's to get to the tower. So if his purpose, the man in black has served his purpose in Roland's quest to the tower, then he may just not care too much anyway.
That could be, but I feel like he said it many times.
Yeah, I mean, dead or not, he's still in his head, so it doesn't matter too much.
A
Yeah.
lot of people live in people's heads. Stephen King books.
Hmm.
I like how he looks on the side of the door and it's not there, and he pulls his head back and it's there. He's like, I wonder what would happen if I. What did he say? Did something on the other side? I forgot.
I like when he first opens it and sees that he's in an airplane, but of course doesn't know what an airplane is and like freaks
Yeah,
out and shuts it.
like holy crap! The ground was coming up to meet me. I wonder if I could go
Yeah.
through it from the nothing side.
That
How exactly
entire
would you do that?
scene- That entire scene was just perfect. Like I could see it so clearly in my head, and just that final like, ah, like
Yeah. Nope, not doing that right now.
Yeah, that
The
was
door
great.
wasn't here, but it's shadow. So on the side you can't see it, you can see its shadow.
Yeah, I'm still a little confused about the door physics because I'm like, wait, so people can go through with you as long as they're touching you. Well, I guess only Roland, but and then people from the other side.
Yeah, and then when he
But
tells Eddie, this whole time up until the fight, he's been in Eddie. So then he's
right,
like, "Hey, I'm gonna go be my own person."
yeah, I'm like, how do you know
Man,
you
you
can
could do
do
that the whole
that?
time.
Yeah,
but
like
like,
we should have led with that.
you can't bring your gun shells through, but you can as a person go through. Like that makes no sense.
That's a good point because he couldn't bring anything from his world.
Yeah.
But he had his guns, didn't he?
Yep.
Whatever happened to the drugs? Did they ever try to find that? Is that coming up?
They just left him.
I mean, if I'm Eddie, I'm walking south down the beach for a little bit. I gotta tell you,
That's what I'm thinking.
because yeah, because he's about to go back through the door and get some dope. Although I think he pretends like that's not really what he's gonna do. He just wants out of that world. Well, I could see that. He's got nothing to live for, right? I think he says that, right? He's got nothing left.
Yeah, that was something a thought that I had in that moment was like, what would you do? Because if you stay, you're probably going to jail. I mean, I guess not forever, but it doesn't feel like a great life. But if you
I mean,
go,
if you stay, you got nothing. Yeah, you're gonna like sit in your apartment until you get evicted with the like shades down, hiding from.
well, not just that. I think that's being generous because like the SWAT team was coming in on him. I mean,
Yeah.
he may not be blamed for all of it, but he's going to be in trouble for something.
They're gonna want to talk to him for sure.
Right.
Well, he would definitely be charged with murder for how many bodies are there.
Right.
He's the only one alive. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, he's probably fucked.
So it was
I mean, what
better.
I would do, I would go either way. I gotta tell you, it's an opportunity like that. I mean, it would depend on. Okay, well, it doesn't seem like the greatest world so far. So maybe I'd have to think a little. Well, you don't really. There is no thinking. It's either do or don't. So
He did kind of seem to instantly regret it. He like got over there and was like, "Wait, hold on, what did I just do?"
yeah. Now I need a fix. But Jesus Christ, you have what, 2 or 10 pounds, about a couple miles down the beach? Hell, you just dragged Roland up it. You couldn't have went that far because I know you weren't moving that fast, dragging his ass.
Especially being, in a hole in his own way too. Like,
Yeah. Walk down the beach till you see the lobstrosities running around in circles. Really.
It does really
Eject that
because it's a terrifying universe, and you only know this one stranger who sort of helped you, but you don't know anything about him, and so it's like it kind of feels like staying in my world would be better than that.
Damned if you do and damned if you don't, right? I mean, he would, if he managed getting caught in his world, he would spend the rest of his life hiding and looking over his shoulder.
yeah.
Or
Well,
go
that's
to
true
this.
because Balazar would probably have someone above him who'd be looking for him too.
Maybe, probably. I don't know. Who knows? Or all the people under him might be looking for him. The cops are looking for him. I mean, even
Right. It just feels like a Twilight Zone almost.
Well, and also, like, if he had said no, Roland knows that he needs him for his team. Like, as much as he was saying,
True.
he has to make this choice on his own. Like, I can't force him to do it. What if he had said no? I don't think he would have just let him stay. He would have been
You're
like,
right.
okay, now you don't have a choice.
Maybe Eddie knew that too.
Uh,
But
yeah. I wonder what he would have done if he's been like, I'm good. Here, my friend knows. Right. I don't want to go to your world, but can I hitch a ride till this blows over and come back? Can we keep the door open for a little bit?
and it is kind of strange how, like, I get that he doesn't have anything and he's used to devoting his life to one person, i.e. Henry, but like how strange he's just like willing to be loyal to Roland. Like he doesn't I don't know if he's telling the truth or not, but he says he doesn't kill himself because Roland needs him or Roland would die without him. I'm like, why do you care? Like you,
Yeah.
especially because at that point you'd be dead. So like he's so I love Eddie.
He
He's very,
still seems so innocent.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's relatable. Little Eddie in all of us, I think. He's. Oh, I like. Gotta turn the light up to read what I wrote. Sometimes I write in highlighter and I can't read it. The whole, like, when Eddie's in the airplane, I guess before Roland shows up, or I guess Roland's just watching, and like what's going on in Eddie's head and the way he's like, this general paranoia because of what he's doing. I thought was like the way his mind's jumping from this to this to that. To what about her and what about him? And I gotta go to the bathroom and
Yeah.
yeah, like I could see it. I felt like I've had those. Not that I've ever smuggled coke on an airplane, but it was like if it was me in that situation, I could see me. And I think that's part of why
Right.
we like Eddie. And the one that was somebody, look here, you're some lucky kid. Those aren't tumors unless they're what you might call tumors on the corpus of society. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Those things look more like a couple of baggies held there with scotch strap and tape. Oh, and by the way, don't worry about that smell. That's just or that's just goose. It's cooked.
Right.
And
That
these
almost
are the
sounds like
thoughts he's
something
having while he's
Halo
like
would
walking
do.
to. Perfect. Oh, I know what the Stephen Kingism was. It might be a Dark Towerism. We had some blue bombardier's eyes show up for the first time. They will be back and quite often.
Yeah.
Hanging out with the great sage and eminent junkie on the sidelines,
When
always ready to
Eddie
come in.
sees them, he calls them. He says that they look like blue, the color of fading Levi's. I was like, okay, that's not really what I would consider bombardier blue, but okay.
That's not like, yeah, I feel like picture like brilliant, bright blue, not faded Levi's. That's like almost yuck. It's not a cool color. And Roland keeps looking back at himself, like his body. I don't know if I can leave my body sitting there like that. Those monstrosities are too close. And he even says something about he had to get back before they like ate him. Like, well, if that's a chance, why are we even doing this?
To honestly, the monstrosities, yes, but also like the infection coursing through his body. Like I know he can't do anything by staying there, but it's got to be terrifying to think that at any moment, like, what if he had gone back and his body had died? Like, is that possible?
Then he just would have been.
I thought that too. What would he have done? Yeah, what would he have been? Would he have died?
Well, or he would have. I feel like he would have just tried to take over Eddie's body at that point.
Well, that's what Court told him to do, right? Was it Court? Somebody told him to do that. Just take that one.
Yeah, I think it was.
Tuna fish. That one makes me laugh. You can't. It says she
Yeah,
called it a sandwich, but he knew a popkin when he saw one. I just like the way he does those little mannerisms for the characters. Cool, not cold turkey. Cool turkey. Oh, here he's the great oracle and eminent junkie. So he got downgraded. Just a mere sage. One day he hopes to be an oracle. So then, yeah, I guess I'm at you're a fuck, the sallow thing said with a British accent. It's like, no, a fuck is what you expected. I came with my legs crossed.
Got him.
Yeah. Oh, I had my first thank you sigh. One of my favorite things to say to
I
people.
saw that too.
They always look at me very confused. Thank you, Sai. Like, what? I thought Sai was a female address, but apparently it's just anybody.
Yeah, I don't remember it being female at all.
Hey, well, maybe I just always said it to. Actually, it was your mom where I started saying it. Maybe that's why I always said it. So, yeah. So he's in the plane. The flight attendant gets spooked, and I don't remember why. Oh, because of his blue bombardier eyes turned brown or turned blue.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've never seen eyes change color because it really seems to freak people out. But I guess it would.
I don't know that I would notice. Like, how often am I looking at your eyes to the point that I would see it?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, I don't know that I've ever looked at anyone's eyes that intently that I would notice that they changed color.
I mean, certain couples situations you might, and then that would be freaky. But generally, no. If I changed 5 colors, and I would just.
I would imagine though it's because it's happening while they're looking at them. So like again, it's something I can't pinpoint in my own head because we haven't experienced it. But if your pupil or if your iris is suddenly just like changed to a completely different color while you're looking at it, I guess that would be weird.
Yeah, but she didn't see it physically like go from brown to blue. They just she looked at him one time and she thought he had cute hazel eyes, and then the next time she looked at him, he had blue eyes, and then when she looked back again, they were hazel.
Well, I was thinking of the what's his name? The guy in the truck.
Colt.
Cole. Yeah, I think Cole.
Yeah.
Guy in the truck. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
With Jack.
That I get. Yeah.
Oh, the dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I expected him to be smarter. He was pretty stupid. But I'm not sure why I expected him to be smarter. Mr. Whatever was tickling at her about 3A, Mr. Now they're hazel, now they're blue, kept right on tickling. Something wasn't right. Yeah, they're following the strapping operation. Also only looked blankly when he. Yeah, because I had no idea who William Whistler was either, and I've read some Poe, and I don't even remember that guy. But I didn't bother to look it up. That's what I was talking about earlier. We should make a list of all the books that Eddie's read. There's quite a bunch. I'm sure somebody has it somewhere. I guess I guess her plan was to hit him with the thermos, disable him, like, pour hot coffee on him, or lukewarm coffee on him. No, you better brew a fresh
I could not
pot.
figure out what she was gonna do.
He's like, she unscrewed the lid. I'm like, okay. So do we know? like what year Eddie's in?
What?
Like how old he is?
Oh, what year?
Yeah, like is this just present day when the book was written year? I guess.
Oh, probably.
This is the 80s. So anyway, my point is, it was written in 87. You know, thermoses weren't that great, so I doubt the coffee was even hot anymore.
Well, no, she had just brewed the coffee though. I would hope.
And that's funny. She
Unless they have a
decides.
really good coffee maker.
She decided she was just being nervous Nelly, and then the woman next to her like, I saw something that wasn't supposed to be there when you were looking at his eyes. It's like I was doing my job while you looked at his eyes. The Gunslinger, Roland. This is like the first time he
Like a little bit.
when he
Because
gets this
this-
whole 2 pounds of Coke are probably sugar.
Oh, yeah,
And he
that-
makes all those connections, and he's like, "Well, oh my God, why would you want anything? What is he? I think he has a soda or something, and it's like so sweet he can't stand it. And he's like, why would you want anything else in the world where this is just available? He's like, maybe that's what's on the beach. It must be sugar.
Everywhere, so it's probably not.
Like,
he was probably, like,
if he went back and put some of that shit in his coffee, I'd have lost it. He probably would have too. He must complete the ritual known as the clearing of the customs. Like the way he wears that. That cracked me
It's
up
like
too.
ritual sometimes.
Yeah, going to the airport.
I haven't
tomorrow.
had to clear a custom,
or maybe not.
thankfully.
Anyway.
Although there's plenty of places to go. Oh, did you get the video I sent you, Ever?
I remember. I haven't looked at anything yet.
Sarah is on the dock in Maine right now, and there was a loon on the lake in the rain, and she took like a short video.
Cute.
Maybe.
I never knew loons were like an actual thing till we went to Maine. There's one of those things like a that only existed in Stephen King books. I didn't know they actually were real things.
Right.
Until we went to Maine and we sat on the lake, and you can hear the loons out on the lake making noise.
Yeah, they're loud.
For the-
Right?
I was waiting for the black greasy oil pit to start sliding up along the lake. Okay, so have you read or seen The Raft, Allie?
I have not, no.
Yeah, well, now you know what happens. Or now you know what it's about, maybe not what happens. Yeah, and then I think we went, it was the Wayne General Store where they're like, oh, yo, wait a minute. I was like turn around and say, can you say that again? Can I ask you another question? Wait, people really talk that way, look. But it's funny that he doesn't talk that way. I wonder how that happened. Like he doesn't have a heavy accent like Stu or Marshall takes you out on the patty badge. I guess he was remote enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I never thought about that.
Maybe.
Maybe he just
Refused to,
Or
you know, I guess he was an English
traveled enough
teacher. Maybe he
or
refused. What?
well, maybe he's like traveled enough, or yeah, like maybe, being an English teacher, he was like, oh, that's okay.
Well, that's true. Maybe he used to talk that way till he got all popular.
saw nothing. The Gunslinger slide, right?
You're right, Amber, because he turns him into the prisoner, much the way he turned Jake into the boy, because at some point he has a conversation, I think maybe with Walter in his head, where he figures out that like Eddie's willing to die for him, and he's what do you do to these people to instill such horrible loyalty or something like that. I don't have it in
Oh
on
yeah.
the page. So at some point he's like, okay, so he's probably gonna die too, but I'm gonna step over him and go to the tower. 'Cause now the tower is more important.
He did
What?
tell Eddie that he was gonna die. He just said you're gonna have some fun first.
Yeah, it doesn't slow him down. I feel like the tower has gotten more important as we've gotten than it was, in the beginning. It kind of started like it was all about Man in Black, and then it was like now it's all.
Well, I think it was always about the tower because again, the Man in Black was the key to the tower. It's just maybe not emphasized as
I
much
don't
as
know.
it was
Like
to
he didn't even know why he was like looking for the tower. That kind of like is disappointing.
Yeah.
Like
Still
I feel
kind
you're
of
supposed to be a guy with a
confusing.
purpose, man. Like a single-minded, nothing else matters. Fuck you and fuck your tower. And someone said, well, "What's so important?" And he
But I don't know. I just
got to it.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know. I never really thought about that.
I guess we'll find out. I had nothing else to do for the last 500 years. The world moved on. Shit was getting kind of boring. I needed a quest.
Needed a purpose, needed a reason to live.
Yeah, all that. I like how he said there was a voice spoke in his head, not a
voice.
I don't know
How
what
would
I
you
would
know
do.
the difference?
Yeah, right. There's no way to simulate that. Can you recreate that? I'm sitting here trying to picture how I would react if I can't even wrap my head around that happening.
Yeah.
There's no other. I've never had a.
Well, it's also
I mean,
Yeah, I guess
like
you could.
the worst. I'm just gonna say the worst moment for him to come in because like he's trying to make Eddie be calm and not be suspicious for the flight attendants, and so it's like, hey, I'm in your head. Hey, don't move, don't make any noises or sounds or do any weird things, but I'm in your head right now.
Right, you're not losing your mind. I'm real, so you believe, right? All right, now moving on. Roland would make a very good counselor. He's like, you believe, right? Okay, now let's go.
Well, and I honestly,
And you might drink.
it's probably good that Eddie's a junkie because otherwise he may not have believed. Like, he's probably had weirder trips or something. Like, maybe that's why he's just like, oh, okay. What's next?
Yeah.
That might be true. I imagine he's had some.
Description like.
I don't know that I would be calm and pretend like nothing was. Maybe I would. I mean, I imagine I would look around and like, how would you know it was only in your head? I guess would be my first question. Because you heard it, but you didn't hear it. I guess you would hear it on it. I don't know. I'm sitting here trying to talk to him.
Yeah,
Strange. I don't know how I would react to that. I certainly don't think calm would be my first reaction. But there's no way to like prepare him for what he's about to do. You just have to do it and hope for the best. Shut your damn mouth, jackass. Selena. Oh, I forgot they had a sister too, Selena. Sounds like somebody just left the room.
Yeah. Right.
It's like a ghost thing.
I couldn't tell if that was a squeaky door or a cat because that's what my cats sound like sometimes.
It could have been a cat. Did you guys watch the thing on Netflix about cats? What was that called?
Of
Secret
course,
Lives?
Inside the Mind of a Cat.
Yeah.
Not yet. I've been meaning to.
I think it validated everything that my cat does. Now when she puts her tail up in there, I'm like, you can't lie.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know that we spent,
So
you know,
pretty sure it takes
drugs and throw them behind some rocks just out of reach of the lobstrosities and then get back into play.
I do kind of wonder how they thought, like, it is a plan that is very spur of the moment because it's like, I didn't think about that either until afterward, but it's like, what is Balazar gonna think? Like, you can't tell him you put them in this magical world and, like, he's gonna have questions for you.
Yeah.
And
It does. I'm sad that Balazar is dead. I kind of liked him. He's a smart dude, even though he's a super criminal. But, like I like the way he was thinking about things and like, okay, so this junkie thinks he's gonna pull a magic trick, like a locked room mystery on me, huh? So he's like, so what's he really doing? How is he doing this?
Yeah. I just wish he could have, like, let him live out the magic trick that instead of being like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like why don't you get your coke back first and then worry about what's not right? Doesn't seem like a smart business decision.
Yeah. Because, like, if he had just waited, he would have gotten it back. Like,
Well, no, he wouldn't have, because Andolini wasn't coming out of there.
well, no, but I'm saying if they had just let Eddie go into the bathroom alone, he would have gotten his Coke back.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And no one would have died, hypothetically.
Like, is he worried about him, like, building or digging a tunnel out of there? Like, he couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah. So the door. What if they went to Roland's world and like walked down the beach like 100 feet and then got back in the door? Would it have been in a different spot if it's following them?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Because as far as we know, he's going in through Eddie, so he goes where Eddie is. But now they're like separated. So what if they're both in Roland's world? Yeah, this door physics, you can really get stuck on that.
Mm-hmm.
I like how just the last time, like it's the last time.
and then it disappeared.
Wait, does it disappear or it just lays there? I don't remember.
I thought it said that it went blank.
Yeah, like it didn't say the prisoner anymore.
Oh yeah, okay. Nothing but cool Ka in Eddie's head is next.
Yeah, which I
Oh.
definitely, until they explained it, I definitely thought Ka meant like soul.
Interesting. Let's talk about that.
I did. I did like their definition of cause. I didn't remember quite seeing it like that.
Remind me. Anybody have it?
Find it. Hold on. Yeah, I wrote it down.
How do they explain it?
Here we
Don't
go.
look.
Duty, destiny, or in the Vulgate, a place you must go.
I mean, okay. So what do we know of Ka up to this point? Not much, right? I think it's been
Pretty much nothing.
alluded to offhandedly a couple times, but not. So Roland's. What was? So that's
So Roland's Ka is the tower.
Right? That's how you would say that.
Yeah.
Even so, can you pick something else and change your Ka? Or
Can you change your destiny?
yeah, so Ka's like fate, like natural and
Fight.
That's fight.
Yeah, fight.
Look,
I've been doing it for 20 years.
I love the way she says that. Can you change your fate? Okay, we're not gonna get into all that. But
Roland seems to think no.
yeah, I
Right.
think Roland. It's a moot point because Roland's not gonna. So it is called the Dark Tower after all. So let's just assume that doesn't happen.
The Dark Tower for now.
Maybe.
Next.
Maybe
No,
Next
I'm
night, try the
kidding.
lake
If
tower.
that's what the story was called. Yeah.
So let's see. Balazar wants the Coke. Eddie says, Eddie goes into the bathroom not knowing Henry's dead, or Henry dies while he's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I think he said something like
Henry's last rocket took off as Eddie was walking into the bathroom or something like that.
Yeah.
So basically everything went to shit in the bathroom. And it's and they say that Balazar already decided he was going to kill both of them, but I guess he was still trying to get his Coke back. So if I'm Balazar, the Coke's gone. The cops have it. Like they.
He said he had questions. They were questions that needed to be answered. I'm not sure if I know what those questions were. But
if I'm pretty sure this
on your
guy's
side.
now a rat or an informant or all of the above, I'm not asking him no questions. I don't even want him in my building.
Right.
Like, Jack, go get somebody to shoot his ass, like, randomly by accident. Far away from here.
Yeah.
But I guess if he didn't have questions, we wouldn't have had a cool Jack Andolini death.
I mean,
What
no
a way
matter
to go,
what,
huh?
it's like, well, yeah, that whole scene was just great. I mean, that is definitely one of the scenes that stands out because, like, you and I have talked about this a lot. Just the Eddie having to battle naked.
Yes, even Roland mentions something.
Hmm.
The steel in him, not everyone could do it. I mean, I think I've always said I don't think I could do it, but I mean, I guess, the only reason you couldn't do it is because you're self-conscious, I guess the word is.
to be naked, but
If you're in a gunfight, does that even matter anymore?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Once your
Your
survival
adrenaline's up.
once your survival kicks in, it's you get to that do what you got to do to survive. Go to the bottom of the pyramid and worry about the other shit later.
Yeah.
Hmm.
If there's people shooting at you, you're not going to care what you have on or don't, unless.
Yeah, self-conscious
Really
is
solid
not
quote.
on the lowest tier of Maslow's
Yeah,
hierarchy.
yeah, they're not. No, I think that's about halfway up, right? We're
Yeah.
going down to survival and food and water and all that. So yeah, I guess it may be hard at first until a bullet, wings by your ear, and then it doesn't matter anymore.
The only thing that my first thought honestly was that you're more vulnerable, but I guess I mean to like cuts maybe, but it's not like you couldn't get hit in your private parts in a regular fight. So or in a gunfight, you know what I mean? You're still gonna get shot there if you get shot there.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because it's covered doesn't mean there's anything protecting it. Although I'm sure it
Right.
feels more vulnerable,
Right.
and maybe that messes with your head. I don't. You don't generally. Getting shot at. I would assume. I don't know. I've only been shot at once, and I had clothes on. So.
Damn.
Yeah, good old Baltimore. So yes, we've talked about that a lot. It was a little different than I remembered it. I mean, Eddie basically did nothing until Roland ran out of bullets, and then he shot, I think, 2 people, and then almost got shot, and I think Roland saved him again, and then he freaked out about his brother. So I think
Yeah, but
I mean, he did
But
okay.
he's not a gunslinger. Like, he's a junkie who got picked up like hours ago from this strange man from another world. Like, I think he did pretty
Years ago,
good
was bringing 2
fine.
pounds of
Coke back from the Bahamas.
Right.
I guess
And
so.
definitely
He
would have
did.
been caught.
He did good for a junkie.
I mean, I would say yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I know he didn't have a choice, but the fact that Roland even trusted him at all to use the guns to help him, I'm like, oh Jesus! Like, I just didn't. I didn't remember that happening.
I don't know that he did. He had no choice.
I know, but I almost feel like Roland would be the type to just try it on his own than to let that happen.
I mean, yes, but Roland's also the type to know when he's beat. You know, he's not gonna
Yeah,
waste time on
that's
something
true.
that's not gonna work. He knows without those fingers, he's not shooting a damn thing. So,
Yeah.
and
Roland's
like
dying anyway, so I think
he kind of half gives a fuck. He's like, well, if it works, we live. If it doesn't, I die. So, and I'm dying anyway. So who cares? And I've lived for a long goddamn time, and the world moved on without me, and left me here in this crap. So, who cares if I die? But he doesn't. Like I said, and everything was
good.
till he
Remember,
And the funny thing is, they didn't really kill Henry. He kind of killed him. I don't, or at least not on purpose.
Yeah, I don't think they tried to kill him.
In fact, yeah, far from it, because the first thing they go is like, we got a problem. And why do they care so much? Like, why is that? Well, we killed the junkie's brother. Oh God, he's gonna freak out. Oh God, we got a problem. What do they care?
That's what I was thinking too. Like, I
Yeah.
know that they don't want to give the boss bad news, but it's like it's not that big a deal. Like, he's gonna kill them anyway. You don't need any bargaining power.
Yeah, yeah. What do you need to
You just
keep
have to
Henry
tell
alive for another
him that
10
he's
minutes?
fine.
Yeah. Why didn't? Yeah, they could have. Well, he heard him saying they killed him. Like, I wouldn't have said shit. Said, nope.
That's true. Because, well, yeah, it seems awfully convenient. They just assumed that he was in another dimension just because it was quiet.
Yeah, like he can't hear conversations. That's one hell of a door they got there, right? So, I guess where we're at is what he freaks out and Roland like drags him back, right? The parts for
let's see.
although the monstrosities can snag the seabirds out of the air, so
Yeah, but they move so fast.
they are quick. Like Roland's very enamored with skyscrapers. Never thought about that. I guess they didn't have that before the world moved on.
I mean, people that have never been to a big city are enamored by skyscrapers, so I get it. Like, it's cool.
Yeah.
Like how put the acid on the meat things. I like how he sneaks the hot dogs. Like turns around like he's just eating them, you know, hiding behind his coat in the corner of an alley.
Yeah,
then
like
he turns
everyone's
around and like
suspicious.
licking his fingers. Yeah, that didn't look suspicious at all. And then maybe not liking the way Eddie's back was turned, maybe smelling a little prestidigitation in progress.
I looked that up.
That's good. That's hard just to
say.
Prestidigitation?
Yeah. See?
Oh.
See how you are? You just
Well,
rolled right into that.
I'm used to that from D&D.
I was gonna say that, yeah.
Never actually played that too much.
Nerd skills coming in handy.
So, what is it?
Well, in D&D, it's kind of like a catch-all spell, but you can like clean things. You can, mostly clean, but I think you can create stuff too.
The definition is like it's a form of magic trick, like sleight of hand kind of tricks.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You should have just said that. It would have been easier.
I was like, what are you talking about? I did not get that.
Was this weird alien presence that called itself Roland his friend? Interesting way to, yeah, he's got a point. So,
Yeah, I
okay, there's a
mean,
weird alien thing in my head. If I'm going to accept that, then I have to accept the fact that it might not care about me and would potentially want to do me harm. Like, it's like it had been one fuck of an interesting day, and Eddie didn't think it was over yet. Guess I should get to that. I mean, so, oh yeah, and Claudio like had half his damn arm up his ass. Like, it seemed,
Yeah, there seemed to be a lot of that. That was kind of gross.
yeah, I was surprised by that. Like they were like strip. Okay, and like then the guy's like, his fingers came out of Eddie Dean's asshole with a plopping sound. Like, oh, come on.
Like, ugh.
And then he's all
Done without
freaking out.
that.
Yeah, then Eddie says, I wiped my ass with a chair like last time I took a dump. What? What does that mean? That he's got a bunch of shit in his asshole? Like, I don't understand what he's saying there.
I guess, like, because he said I would have wiped with one to, like, clean it deeper, presumably, but that, I don't know. I'm guessing.
Yeah. I like how Balazar starts thinking about the magic trick when he was a kid. I like the way he did that. Almost made Balazar relatable. Like, oh, I need a bad guy to live for a little while. One that doesn't titter all the time.
Well, don't worry.
There's a bad guy right now. There isn't one, right?
We don't have a bad guy
Well,
in the story.
Not really.
Walter's
yeah,
dead.
you're right.
Martin was a long time ago. And
The
I'm still confused.
monstrosities, that guy.
Yeah, right. Like when he's chasing Walter, is he chasing Martin? Anyway, I think I will always be confused by the thing that is
Depends on which
Martin,
version you're reading. Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's definitely, the definition has definitely changed along the way. These eyes change from brown to blue. All right, so they have a shootout sort of on the beach when Jack comes through. Oh, Colonel Vincent, you're talking about, right, Amber?
Yeah. Well, I don't. Is that his name, Colonel? Is that what
Well,
COL is short for?
Yeah.
I thought that was just like a nickname of something, like
I mean,
Coletti.
maybe, but COL is short for Colonel, but maybe it would have a period, but I'm not sure. Maybe his name is just.
Wasn't he was like just a kid though, right?
Yeah.
So I
Maybe
doubt
it's
he would be a
ironic.
colonel.
Maybe it's an ironic nickname.
I just saw it as Cole.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine, be that way. He just got demoted. I'm trying to find the end of Jack on the beach. Yeah, I like to shoot out. And of course,
I like how right before he dies, Jack is like, "Wait, something's not right. I don't like this too. Like, I don't want to go anymore."
yeah. You mean the monstrosities?
Well, because like Eddie says, "Okay," he said, "Come along, Jack. I'll show you the eighth wonder of the world." He flashed a smile that neither Jack Angelini nor Enrico Balazar cared for in the slightest.
Knew he was up to something, but
I couldn't for the life of him figure out what it was.
Yeah.
Because he was naked walking into a bathroom. What the hell could he have possibly done? And he already had a hand halfway up his ass, so he wasn't, pulling it out of his ass as it were. But So I think they were going from curious to whatever this is, it's not going to be good. Because what does he say? He didn't look like someone that was nervous. He looked like the cat who just got the cream or something like that. So he had like a, I guess you would say almost an evil smile. Like he was confident. He wasn't. I think Balazar says that. Like he, whether he was right or wrong, he believed that he was going to come out of that bathroom with coke, and that was making
Yeah.
Balazar nervous, like because he couldn't figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So
If I was Jack, I can imagine that. Because I'm the one that has to go in there and find out what's going to happen. I don't think I'd want to do that either. You know, Balazar's nervous in general, but nothing's going to happen to him. Jack's like, okay, whatever's going to go wrong, I'm going to be front and center here.
Yeah.
Is he got a bomb? Is he just going to blow everybody up? Well, then again, no, he's naked. Although I have to say, I'm not sure. I blame him for freaking out because I had forgotten that they fucking cut Henry's damn head off and rolled it out in front of him like that.
Yeah. That was a little much.
Yeah, that must have been a lot of work really fast. I mean,
I don't
think it's that. You don't just like in the movies, you know, swing an axe and the head comes off. It takes some work.
Yeah, I'm like, what? When did they have time to do this? Why would they do that? Like, weren't they trying to keep him alive? And now the plan suddenly changed to cut his head off when Balazar is already dealing with Eddie in the moment? Like, that confused me.
Yeah. It's like,
Well-
what was the point of that? Just to like unhinge Henry? Because I feel like that would make him more dangerous.
Unhinged.
Eddie.
Well, I think that was completely the point, to make him lose his mind so they could kill his ass, because they hadn't been able to do that up to this point. So I guess he just, you know, turned around and cut his head off right quick, and when the plan A wasn't
The other
working, and
thought-
lobbed it out there.
With all the exploding glass and stuff, I was like, is it possible he got decapitated? Or did
That's
they say that they cut it
fair.
off?
I mean,
That's
with
really
all
fair.
the big guns, is it possible his head came off or almost off?
Well, yeah, true.
So maybe,
some-
yeah, maybe it was almost off, and he was just like, "Oh, idea."
Yeah.
All right, it definitely worked.
Yeah, that's the moment when I was saying earlier where Eddie like lost his mind, obviously, and I was like, no, stick to the plan. Come on.
He's sitting on the floor with his brother's head cradled against his belly. Like, oh, what an awful image. I don't know if I could do. I don't think I would do that. I don't know. If all that
Yeah,
I had was like his head, I don't know that I'd want to
It's
cradle
not
his.
something I want to think about.
Yeah, I don't want to cradle his head because that's all I'm gonna think about is the fact that it's not on his body and it's just a head. We're gonna mourn in spirit, not physically. At this point, maybe you can attach it for the funeral. We'll talk about that some other dimension. Like how he calls the cops the howlers. The howlers had almost arrived.
The sirens.
Yeah. I mean, he uses pretty good words. There's a couple other ones that I skipped. I don't remember. He's like, I want my damn fingers back, he thought tiredly. Weren't they like screaming that they were itching or something the whole time?
Yeah.
We kept having to ignore him. Well, yeah, so the SWAT team was at the door. At the door.
Well, I
Like
don't
eating?
doubt it.
Well, I mean, yeah. It was a shootout at the OK Corral. He had seen Eddie risk his life for him. He had seen. Oh, no, that's a different spot. He wanted him to decide for himself. This is what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
He wanted. He had seen this hag-ridden man behave with the dignity of a born gunslinger in spite of his addiction, and the fact that he'd been forced to fight as naked as the day he was born. I don't see how that affects that, and he wanted Eddie to decide for himself.
powers, world story.
Sounds better than one of those Edgar Rice Burroughs books. Oh, there's another one.
I'm like,
Because
okay,
I don't even
Roland,
know.
how about you? Sorry.
Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, how about you tell him a little bit about your journey and adventure thus far? It's been so fun.
Yeah, start with the lobstrosities. Let's go from there.
I don't even mean that. I'm just thinking about walking across the desert. Oh, killing Jake and, killing an entire town and killing mutants.
Kill, technically kill Jake. I guess you would say the Man in Black did, right? Who made the thing crumble?
Letting Jake die.
Well, it's important. Well, not really. Like I said, up until I guess this opening or this opening part, Roland hasn't really been a
Mhm.
but he gets better almost immediately when this book starts. So, and I was curious. I didn't remember what the shuffle was until I read it, and it's a lot of, I guess, both of them blanking in and out while they're in their fever dreams.
Yeah. I got the feeling it was much more from Roland's perspective, though. Like,
Well, yes, to his what is this? Yeah, to his horror when he finds out he's been eating lobstrosities. Like, what I mean, okay, like you're a gunslinger. I feel like that's something you would have done out of necessity
right?
many times. Maybe not with the lobstrosities, but I guess I don't know. Feels like he's
Didn't
eating
he
himself.
say
Maybe
he's eating bugs or something? Is that a different book? I don't remember.
he might have.
Yeah, like I don't understand why he was so. Maybe it's like a personal thing because he's like that's the thing that took his fingers away.
That's what I'm saying. Like it feels like being a cannibal. Like he's eating himself. Or wasn't there one part where he was fighting it and you could see his fingers in the thing's gut or something? Didn't he say that?
I think so.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That would be.
But he said, never mind, because he said that like when they joked about it afterward, he was like, maybe one of them is the one that has my fingers too. So like, I don't think he cares that much.
Well, true. So yeah, I don't know what he's all horrified about then. Then we get out of, well, Eddie, I guess makes the choice even though he didn't have it. And
They find
the Lady of Shadows door. And then Eddie kind of loses his mind again. Or I mean, has he still lost his mind from the first time? Like a door, of course, another door. Well, yeah, it is called. It's the drawing of the three there, buddy. So I'm assuming there's another door coming after this one. Just so you know.
Well, and he straight up
And-
told him, he was like, the four of us, there are only two of us. Yes, we have to get the other two.
Right,
Like,
you're the first. I had to talk you into it first. For all either of us know, the Lady of Shadows might have 8 eyes and 9 arms, like Suvia. Who the fuck is Suvia?
That one I didn't look up.
Even if it does open on your world before you were born,
she would have died.
I
never
thought
thought
about
of
that. Huh? Well, I mean, I would take that. So at least I'm back in my world and I'm in a different, that would actually be kind of cool. I had nothing left in my timeline, so let's try something else. But at least I'm back on my planet or my dimension or whatever is going on.
Well, as far as you know, I mean,
My world. So what do you mean? As far as I know, what?
were you talking about going through the other door?
Yeah. Well, not.
There's no guarantee that that's also Earth. I mean, or our
Well,
world.
yeah,
I mean,
they're arguing about the Lady of Shadows door. So Roland's like, it could be before you died or after you were born. And I think I said that backwards, but it could be before you were born or
yeah, you
after you
do.
died.
But
Um,
my point is, it doesn't. Like that's assuming that it's a different time like frame. But what if it's just a different dimension? Like,
oh,
or I don't know.
like not my world or your world, but a whole different one
Yeah, a
altogether.
third world.
Oh, I don't even.
I'm
Because
I
not
I
don't
don't.
saying
think
it is. I'm just
Roland's.
saying I wouldn't.
No, I'm saying Roland doesn't even argue that point. He's just like it could be a different. It hasn't even dawned on him that it could be a.
Yeah.
Maybe it didn't dawn on Stephen King. Um, and
Door
then
physics.
so Dorphysics. Say it like one word, like Dorphysics.
Door physics. Door physics.
Dorphysics.
So
I guess Roland goes to sleep and wakes up with a gun in his face. Is that how that went?
Well, no, he was awake. I mean, he said he knew what Eddie was doing. He just didn't stop him.
Yeah, yeah, they had just come across the door. He knew what was in Eddie's mind before Eddie knew it himself. Well, then why didn't he stop him?
I think it was a test. I think he knew that Eddie would be loyal to him, and he wanted to show Eddie and him that that was true. I guess, like,
It was the first
because
time in his life he had allowed one of his weapons to be drawn.
right, and he even turned his back and for a second thought that he could be shot, which I'm shocked. I'm like, why would you make that risk then?
Well,
So he trusts Eddie then?
I guess, yeah.
so he trusts a in which
withdraw.
I'm just going to say that's not a good plan.
Right.
Because those people are going to do whatever they got to do. And I think that's like part of what Eddie's doing, but I think he just wants to get the hell after, I guess, seeing nothing but beach and walking for, I don't, dragging Roland's ass. Yeah, why didn't Eddie just turn around and go back to the coke? I guess he just forgot about that. Well, coke's not going to help him now because he's withdrawing on heroin, but it'll be something, right? I imagine it'll be better than nothing. Or maybe it wouldn't. I don't know.
I mean, I've heard Coke is like, or not Coke, heroin's like one of the hardest things you can do.
I mean,
So it would probably be a completely different sensation to him, and it might not be nearly as much as he needs.
I imagine he's probably done it. Most people, well, some people like to do both. That's what Chris Farley and John Belushi died from, doing speedballs, heroin and coke at the same time. I mean, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So we end with Eddie pointing the gun at Roland. I like how Roland would be such an awesome counselor. He's like, I don't know, I can't remember what exactly says, but he's like, I'm going to get some dope. Roland's like, nope, that part of your life's over. Let's go. Whole lot of understanding there. He's like, that part of your life is over.
Or ever gonna do that again.
So get used to it. Good luck. And then
It's not very effective for the emotional side of the treatment, but the fact that there's never going to have access to it again could definitely help.
that makes it a little easier, which I think is part of the reason, obviously Roland has a gun in his face. But Eddie's like, I'll shoot. Wait, what does he say? Oh, Eddie wants to go through the door and have Roland stay there, or I'm going with you. And the gunslinger's like, no, you're staying here. And he's like, you don't think I mean it? You just try me. And Roland's like, I think I will. Like, oh, didn't see that coming.
Mhm.
He's like, and then he says, "I'll shoot you even louder," you know. And there you have it. Gunslinger's like, "Ka," and then he turns to open the door. Like,
Well,
"Oh, shoot me, you do. If you don't, you don't. Either way, yeah, I'm going through the door." Waiting to see if he would live or die. Ka. It's almost a perfect way to end that section.
Mhm.
So, um, yeah. Next is the Lady of Shadows. What do you guys think? What do you think so far?
I mean, I'm enjoying this
Good.
Good.
much more than Gunslinger.
Everybody always says that, but I always wonder if I always like. Sometimes you're like, are they still going to be like, I still hate? Because I imagine you're still confused because really, that's what I was saying. Like nothing's really been explained per se.
I mean, yes, I'm still confused as to like why he's so hell-bent on going after the tower. Like I don't know what it means to him or why he like has this quest or feels like he has this quest. But I figure that'll all be explained in time.
Yeah, you'd think
I
that
would
would.
hope.
I don't know. Well, we'll find out. I'm not gonna say anything about that. I think even he doesn't fully understand his his need to go to the tower. But I don't remember, Amber. Do we know? Well, I guess that's a question for another day. Like, what set him off on this? That we is it? I mean, Martin set him off, or the whole thing with his mom and the man in black, or
Yeah.
set up
that would set him off.
on the tower because he like caught him and then just like kept going.
Well, he
So
didn't mention the tower in that context, so I would assume not, but I have no idea.
yeah, you know, like when did this? Like, you know, it opens with him chasing Walter, and then suddenly,
Not what he's really doing.
so I'm not like he
Well, again,
as he was, and
in
he's
the
chasing
guns.
Walter because of this the court and David and his mom and all that. So there was no tower before he started chasing Walter. Now suddenly, while he was chasing Walter, he has to go to the tower. It's
Yeah, but he says that in the Gunslinger. He says, or the Oracle says to him that. Well, okay, that's true. I don't know. I guess maybe I don't know why he's chasing him before that point, but at this point, it makes sense why it switched to the tower because he said Walter or the Man in Black is the key to the drawing of the three. The three are the key to the tower, I think. Or no, the Man in Black is the key to Jake. Jake is the key to the three, and then the three are the key to the tower.
okay. So basically, it became his car, you would say.
Mm-hmm.
It all goes back to that. Okay. I guess we're good. All right. End of episode. Everybody say bye.
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 Bye.